Love the new intro. I think it's so cool.
Ooh.
It's like a power button. It's green. I like green and especially green glow. I want to buy a laser on Amazon, like a green laser, just cause.
Just
But
for fun.
I saw this one review that said not to point it at the cat because it'll burn the cat. And I'm like, damn, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Fire.
Fire me.
Ooh, speaking of which, new Beavis and Butthead starts on Thursday.
Well, once again, welcome to the Heels and Quads podcast. I return, the four-time Hall of Famer Levi Zindel, accompanied by my best co-host and only co-host, Tommy Walter.
Yeah, I'm here.
He's here, he's clear, and he's ready
Get
to watch
over
some
it.
Yankees. It's some Yankees. I was gonna say Wankies.
Wankies.
He wants to watch the Wankies.
I want to watch you wait a Wankies.
I want to watch the Wankies.
Yeah, I've started. I brought Who Popped Over. We started a sports show now that's on the channel, so we've got some new subscribers. So yeah, we're doing pretty good so far.
Hey, that's cool, man. I got on Facebook for probably the first time in a month, a couple of weekends ago, and and I saw that you were live with like 3 other people, and I watched it for a little bit.
We were doing the sports
show. That's what I thought.
Yeah. And Uncle Dan got shit faced and cussed me out and
Nice.
got a nice little short out of it. He's up to
Yeah.
like 700 views on that one. So
Fuck yeah.
shout out
You
to
better
Uncle
watch
Dan.
it, Uncle Dan. I'll make another fart video and overtake you. So just know who's been here since day one, buddy.
Just know who's buttering your biscuit, okay?
Just know who's buttering your biscuit, Uncle Dan. Yeah, good. Hey, good for Uncle Dan, man. Get a little get a little love on YouTube. Algorithm picks him up.
I'm surprised because there was a lot of swearing in it. When he hit 700, I was like, that's probably it.
He's plateaued.
Yeah,
the swearing. That's all adults.
Well, yeah, because like the first hour it was up, it hit 300, and I was like, okay, we'll take that. And then the next day, like it got 400 more, and I was like, oh shit, okay, now we've peaked, and yeah, nothing since. But I get it. The algorithm, the swearing, it doesn't like it very much.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, hell, Heels and Quads Media is getting so big. I don't even know what shows are on it anymore.
I'm on all of them, and I'm just like, God.
No, but that's the goal, is so you can train people to be self-sufficient.
Take over.
Yeah,
take over. Let Daddy just sit back,
Let Daddy do his thing.
Let Daddy eat once in a while.
Daddy's got to eat. Yeah. Hey, speaking of though, I've been grilling, man. I've been thinking of you when I'm out there. Although the pollen is
bad, dude. My allergies are fucking running wild like Uncle Terry in '84. It's pretty rough, dude. Dude, my ears are like clogged, and it's so fucking brutal. I hate it.
Oh man, well, we had this conversation last week or the week before where it's like, when I was like, hey, are your allergies bad? Because I have them, which means that it must be like my eyes have been itchy. I'm trying to talk to people and I'm like this all the time because they're itchy and they're squinty. And
you got like that little bit of like a pollen filter over your eyeballs.
Yeah,
and
man.
Like, what the fuck? Why are you so like fuzzy looking? Almost said fuzzy.
It's been ever since the tornado that hit Little Rock and all the wind was blowing up.
Yeah,
here. That's ever since then. It's just been green. Everything's
windy as fuck. Sunday was bad wind.
Yeah, man. I'm tired of the wind.
It was weird.
Anyways,
enough
weather.
Yeah. So yeah, we got a big one to talk about.
We do got a big one to talk about, and it's not a clash, but
it's not a clash, but it's kind of cool because this when you texted me, I was literally about to text you the exact same thing,
something
and it
like that
freaked me fucking out.
Yeah,
like I literally had it open. I was like, I don't know, do I want to text in that? I was like, we need to get this done because we've been saying we're going to do Motley Crue forever.
Yeah,
and then I was like, fuck it. And then I was about to start typing, and then whoop. And I was like, what the fuck ever, dude?
Yeah,
that is so weird.
It's so weird, man. But it's, it's not the first time it's happened.
No, it's
not that close where you're like about to type it.
Yeah.
And then I'm typing it. That's weird. But hey, we're on the same wavelength. We have been for going on 6 years now. We're past 5 years now,
Yeah,
right?
we're past 5. November will be 6, but yeah, we'll call it 5.5-ish.
5 years going. Hey, I'm 4 for 5 on Hall of Fames. So
Well, one
yeah.
we didn't have. We didn't have a Hall of Fame for
Oh,
1 year.
true.
Yeah.
True. That's because we couldn't travel because of the
That
pandemic.
right. There was a
Yeah.
whole thing going on worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and the reason why I was gonna text you that because it was like, okay, we did a Metallica Clash, but we've haven't had anybody that we've done a Clash for put out a new record since we
Yeah.
have done their Clash. So I
Very
was really
true.
excited for that. I was like, man, this would be cool. And like, kind of where would you stack it up against, the back catalog and that kind of thing?
Oh, I'm definitely down with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of I kind of want to see what you feel about it because I have a feeling we're probably pretty close.
Usually are.
Um, and if I think it said what Death Magnetic came out in 16
08. 08. Hardwired in 16,
or
Death
Hardwired
Magnetic in
six
08. Yeah.
16, yeah, Hardwired. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
8 years and then there's 7 years in between the last two.
So this is the second longest
And Hardwired
period, I
was
think.
Hardwired to
Self-destruct.
or to or Death Magnetic to Hardwired was the second longest, or the longest was 8 years.
Death Magnetic to Hardwired was the longest at 8 years.
And then that was what tied with Saint Anger, right? Because no. What year did Saint Anger come out?
03.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't that long.
So
Saint Anger before that was
Reload.
that was a long
Reload
one.
was the closest like full release, not like Garage Days Incorporated where it was remakes and all that, which was
Right.
still a cool album.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Hardwired is Death Magnetic and Hardwired was the longest. It's their first studio album in 8 years following Death Magnetic, making the longest gap between two albums of the band's career. So Death Magnetic and Hardwired is the longest gap they had.
Yeah, and let's see, it was released on this past Friday. 72 Seasons is what we're talking about, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they were on Howard Stern to promote the release. I was actually just watching some of it. I watched some of the clips, but then I realized the whole interview was out. So I started watching that. So I watched the first 45 minutes of it before you said you were ready.
Okay, cool.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
How, picking their brains about how they come up with songs and stuff. And it's funny because like James doesn't really, he's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know what a D chord is.
No, he's not a music theory guy, man.
And Howard's like, you don't know what a D chord is?
Yeah.
He's like, no, I know. But then you're kind of like, I don't think you do, buddy.
Yeah. They're not like the Metallica's back catalog has some pretty impressive stuff, whether it's by accident or not.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some stuff that happens where, there's a lot of musicians like, look at Kurt Cobain. He was a total by ear guy, man. He just knew melodies and harmonies. But I think
and especially like metal, hard rock, you're playing a lot of bar chords. You're just kind of like moving up and down the neck, see what feels right. And then you practice, rehearse it enough, and then you're just kind of like, it's there.
Mm-hmm. And Metallica is very, very much an E minor pentatonic kind of. They stay in that zone. They do well with it, but it's. I'm assuming they know some.
How far down do they tune?
Saint Anger was in drop C, and that's the lowest that I know of.
Yeah,
because I think they'll do D standard and E standard pretty typically. Like D standard being, there's some tracks in the catalog like that, but I think for the most part they're pretty either standard or a half step down.
Yeah,
or D standard for like regular stuff. And I could be wrong on the D standard thing, but I know drop C was pretty much all of Saint Anger. I think was in drop C. So a whole step down and then drop the low string down another step.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's where you make a power chord. You make a power chord with just the bottom two strings.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because that one was pretty like crunchy sounding.
Yeah, and it's like
not that Metallica's not crunchy anyways, but
no, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's particularly, you can tell it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, it came out April 14th, so last Friday, and James says that they call it 72 seasons because he says that's the time that it takes from birth to being an adult and figuring out life or something, which I think everybody's still figuring out life, but
Makes sense.
yeah, that's kind of his theory behind it. It's probably
Yeah.
on here somewhere, but anyways, we can get into the review. I wanted to see if it would say anything about how he named it, but I know they
guess
were,
I read he wanted to call it Lux Eterna originally.
which I would have been. I would have been. I think more. I'm not going to get too nitpicky with the name, but I think Lux Eterna would have been a cooler name. I think that's like Eternal Light or something is what it means.
When it looks cool the way they did like the AE slant thing, whatever that's fucking called.
How do you anyways, yeah, I'll look at the meaning another time. Oh, title. Yeah, here we go. 72 seasons, the first 18 years of our lives that form our true or false selves, a concept that we were told who we are by our parents, a possible pigeonholing around what kind of personality we are. I think the most interesting part of this is the continued study of those core beliefs and how it affects our perception of the world today. Much of our adult experiences, reenactment or reaction to these childhood experiences. Prisoners of childhood are breaking free of those bondages we carry. So that's what Hetfield said about the title. So not when you learn about being an adult. I was wrong about that, but yeah. So that makes the title a little more cool. I mean, I like it, but I think Lux Eterna would have been a cooler title.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right.
Anyways, let's get
start
into
it up.
Would you like me to go first?
Yeah, it was your idea.
Okay. Well, it was
our collective idea.
Yeah, it was a collective idea. So I have a preface before I do the actual first track.
Okay.
So I say there are 3 distinct eras of Metallica: 80s, 90s, and 2000s and beyond. This falls heavily into the 2000s era. Sometimes I think they overthink the writing process. That being said, when you are the biggest rock/metal band in the world, I guess you would overthink it a bit because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Change is welcome, but also very much not. Metallica played it safe, and that is fine because it gave us a new album to jam. Here we go. There are always
starting early.
There are always many highlights to this new recording. There are, as always, many highlights to this new recording from the rock icons, as well as more of the same.
And before you start, I will add to that because I was thinking that earlier. You know, a lot of us, you know, music fans, rock, metal, whatever, we complain when a band that we like doesn't put out new music for an extended amount of time, right?
Yeah.
You're with me on that? Okay.
Yep.
But also, when they put out new music, we continue to complain because it's not what it once was.
Yeah, exactly. We
critique it to death, and we're like, okay, well, this, like, for example, Kiss's last album was Monster in 13, I think, and I nitpicked that thing to death. I listened to it maybe 3 times and just didn't listen to it after that. To me, it doesn't exist. I'm like, I don't like it. I'm not going to listen to it. But I'm not going to sit around and bitch about it either. Like, eventually when I do a Kiss ranking, I'll bitch about it a little bit. But then after that, you know, Gene and Paul have come out and said, well, we're not writing any new music. We're not recording any new music because they're not going to make any money off of it.
Yeah.
And 2, the fans just bitch.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you're damned if you're doing, you're damned if you don't, especially when you're a huge act like that.
Mm-hmm. And that's what kind of triggered me to be sure to, I said that because, yeah, you're dead on.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get into
go
it.
ahead and
I'm having a fallen attack here.
I see that.
Bear with me. 72 seasons, the intro track. Intro has a cool sound, leads into the classic fast riffing from the boys. Change to the 8th notes from the 16th notes is cool. You get a bit of everything in this one. Bridge and solo parts are nice and melodic, as well as ripping in Metallica fashion. My gripes are the song is 7.5 minutes for the sake of being long, and it's only the beginning on a long journey with drums.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my notes on that one. We'll discuss after yours, I guess.
Yeah. Where's my notes? There it is. Initially a throwback to the days of old. The constant hi-hat ride is a bit boring. I'll say it now and get it out of the way. The drumming comes off like phoning it in. However, the guitars are great. Bass a bit low in the mix, but that's just me. James's voice is top notch. Classic sound with a touch of maturity. Overall, a good return from Metallica.
So, yes. And I will go ahead and say at the start of this, because I know I didn't note James's voice a lot throughout this, but it's James. His voice is great still.
Mm-hmm.
There's production behind that, but even seeing him live, it's not bad. So, yeah, I
I'll
will.
make
I
a
didn't
note
give a
about
lot of
that
love.
too in coming songs.
What's that?
I make a note about the production on his voice and song
And
coming
upcoming
up.
songs.
It
Okay.
might be the second or the third one. I don't remember which one it is, but
So, yeah, I wanted to make sure I gave that love to James here because, like, his voice, I didn't really brag on it a lot during this, but like, it's as good as ever.
Well, and a
His
lot
voice
of
is fine.
singers that have been around as long as Metallica hasn't,
Yeah.
especially longer, they don't sound like that. They
No, I mean
don't.
40 years now.
Yeah, they don't have that voice anymore. John Bon Jovi's lost his voice. Paul Stanley lost his voice 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or actually longer than that, 15 years ago. And
Yeah.
a lot of bands now, there's the discussion on, how many bands that, we grew up with and even our parents grew up with. How many of those singers and bands overall use backing tracks, even, live,
Yeah.
to just kind of fill out that voice that they don't have it anymore. And
Vince
I mean,
Neil.
Vince Neil. But it's like, James still has it. And like I said, it's that same sound, but you can tell he's gotten older. And that's not a bad thing because a lot of singers, their voice does get better as they mature.
Yeah, he's matured in his voice. And yeah, I'm glad you said it there to kind of remind me. But yeah, I mean, your notes are, especially the drums, it's pretty similar. It's going to be a pretty steady.
I tried not to beat the dead horse like the whole time I was taking notes, but there were times where I was pleased with them. They were okay. And then there were other times where I note that it's like, okay. But I tried to get most of the bitching out right away.
Yeah, let me send this text real quick and we'll continue.
While Levi is sending a text, go to prowrestlingtees.com/heels and quads, get all your merch. Sign up patreon.com/heels and quads and come hang out with me once a week. I'm not doing one this week because I have 3 podcasts this week, so time is a little of the essence. But next week is actually going to have to be our end of the month because that's the last week of the month. So we'll have to figure that out off air at some point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Next week?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't worry about it right now. Let's do this.
Okay. Let's do this and get it done.
I was saying so people sign up patreon.com/.
Yeah. The hangout next week. So I got a bunch of travel coming up. I'll just have to figure it out. Okay. So that's 72 Seasons. Not a bad track. It's the newest of the singles that came out.
It's a good track.
It's fun. Yeah. Shadows Follow. Synchronized snares and guitars leads into a pretty sweet riff, layered with loud hi-hat and snare. Definitely one of the cooler tracks. I do like the lead into the verse, but this is where I really noticed the drums volume. The hi-hat is way too loud in the mix. Cool to hear bass cutting through, though. And I know you said it was a little low in the mix, but
the first song, I do know, I think in this song that
it kind of makes up. It's just, you can hear it, that's what I like. Cool to hear the bass cutting through. Kick, snare. Main verse lick is sweet. Breakdown and bridge is really tight too, minus the aggro hi-hat.
Which I noted in the first song, the hi-hat is obnoxious. And not that Lars is a bad drummer. He's a good drummer.
No.
He's a great drummer. But as he's gotten older, it seems like he's phoned it in a bit more.
I will say before, because it might get a little worse throughout my notes on his drums, but I do appreciate the fact that it is still real recording of drums.
Yeah, it's not a drum machine.
It's not a drum machine. It's not plugged in on piano roll. It's Lars playing.
Yeah. Shadows Follow. Drums better in this one. than the
Okay,
first
yeah.
song.
Yeah.
That's have a machine gun sound. I will say they have a flat sound to them though. It like in the mix, the drums sound really flat.
Yeah.
Picking up a bit more bass on this one. Again, James's voice stands out in a nice harmony before Still My Shadows Follow. Almost a classic Aerosmith vibe on the harmony.
Were you done with your notes?
Yeah.
Okay. I think what you said by the drums being flat in the mix is, and this is just, it can be production and Lars is playing, but there's just not a lot of dynamics.
Yeah,
like, he has one, like he hits the same on everything. Everything's hit the exact same way.
Maybe he doesn't lighten up or hit a little harder.
No, like
there's a couple of tracks where his drums it sounds heavier, but like here it's just like it just sounds like flat, like it was processed too much.
Yeah, maybe that's
mix.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like
I
it dumbed it down.
I do believe Greg Fiddleman. I think this is a different producer. No, okay, so he did do
the same one as Hardwired, I believe.
He did do Hardwired. Okay, Rick Rubin last did Death Magnetic.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say because I wanted to make sure. I was like, I don't want to be shitting on Rick Rubin, but
right.
I don't know. Maybe I just didn't notice it in Hardwired as much, but so Shadows Fall, I had a star next to it, as that's kind of one of my more favorite tracks on the album.
It was a good one.
I like that one.
Overall, yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Screaming Suicide. This is another single. I think this was the second single.
Which I had to put an asterisk in it because like YouTube will flag us and if it's tagged. Because like I go through and I tag like all the songs that are on the album to help with the algorithm.
Yeah.
So I made sure to take out the U and put an asterisk there.
Oh, gotcha. I see.
Yeah. I found that out the hard way.
Yeah.
One of our videos got flagged and I was like, yeah, I don't want that happening again.
One of the 4 current singles, very rock riffage, aggro hi-hat and snare fills as Lars' theme continues. Mid-song bridge riff is a change-up of the verse. Solos are cool. Kick, snare. Like that solo riff that closes the song. It's that's this one, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. I was trying to make sure.
Big guitar sound on this one with a great whining effect and a cool riff to boot. This one is my head banging. You can nitpick all day, but so far, a really good sound from a classic band, which in this time of shit music, I think we can all agree it's a breath of classic fresh air. Actually, really like the drums on Keep Me Inside. That
Keep me inside. My name is Suicide.
Yeah, that's where it was a little bit harder sounding.
Yeah.
Plus, really good guitar solo. Almost more classic rock, like Thin Lizzy or Kiss versus the thrash of old. Very melodic.
That last statement about the bands will come into play later.
Okay.
For me. And it's funny who you note because I note them as well. Yeah, and I want to say, like, my notes might come off a little dickish at some points, but it's just me being, it's a band I grew up listening to. It was the first CD I ever owned, was the Black Album. So like I'm just
you can be a fan. You can even be a fan of this album and all the songs on it and still find shit to complain about.
Yeah,
there's
of course.
nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, but this is coming from a guy who found the great parts of Saint Anger.
Yeah,
I don't hate the album, but it's obviously got its flaws.
We've had that conversation several times on this show since we've been doing the music stuff.
Yeah, I like this album overall, but there's just So, anyways, yeah, Screaming Suicide's cool. It is. I like what you said. Breath of fresh air in like classic, but not in the classic era. It's like new classic. This is a good like Metallica rock song.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Sleepwalk My Life Away. Cool ass intro. Bass and only a kick. Wow. Surprised it doesn't have snare instead.
We're riding the fuck out of that hi-hat.
It's surprised it doesn't have snare instead. They created a pretty sweet soundscape at that intro. Dude. That's pretty sweet. Maybe double tracked on the bass because it sounds like one is just scraping the bass and one is the bass actually guitar scratches. Yeah. When the main lick hits, that's pretty epic also. Bow, bow, wow, bow, boom, boom, now. Like this is a cool song. I have an asterisk next to this one as one of my favorites.
Look at this comment. This breakdown of this album makes me want to buy it, and I'm not a big hard rock fan of hard rock.
It's probably worth a buy. I would recommend it. I mean, I'm always going to recommend to buy a Metallica album.
And I was going to get it, but they didn't have it when I was going to get it. So
people have been waiting on it, man.
Yep.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
When the main lick hits, it's pretty epic. Also, pre-chorus is total load era, and I love that. Chorus has a similar vibe. This is definitely one of my favorites on the album. The guitar, bass, and lyrics drown out Lars enough for me here. Doesn't need to be 7 minutes though. And again, I'm not totally shitting on Lars, but like,
and we like long songs. Yeah, we've commented on that before.
Yes, it's just. It was the production. It's the lack of dynamics. It's just the repetitiveness on drums, like you said, phoning it in. Mm-hmm. That's all it is.
Heavy bass intro. Now we're cooking. I know the majority of music fans find the bass to be the boring instrument in rock music, but personally, it's got to be prominent in the mix for me, and it definitely is here. Drums aren't as bad in this one, but man, does Lars like the hi-hat and cymbals.
Yeah.
A bit of Alice in Chains vibey in this one.
So I didn't realize, but I continued on the back page, and that kind of breakdown also reminds me of Load. This is a nod to the 90s Metallica for me, so that kind of goes along with your Alice in Chains comment. Yeah. It's got that.
We weaved them.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a really cool track, man. I think the title's kind of weird, Sleepwalk My Life Away, but song's cool.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It sounds like phoning it in. Sleepwalk my life away.
Sleepwalk my life away. Okay, track 5. You must burn. You have the Yankees game
on? No, I don't.
Oh, I thought you were watching it for a second.
No, I'm not starting it until we're done. I'm gonna start from the beginning. I'm gonna turn my phone.
Okay, over. I know. I just thought I heard stuff in the background. I thought I don't care. You know, if you want to watch it, watch it. You know, it's your show. You must burn. Opening riffs are cool. Song is slower paced like a 90s Metallica song, but doesn't have that vibe. Okay, I don't know what that means. This more so fits in the 2010s category, playing it safe. Chorus is cool. Drums are wearing me out at this point. Snare kick, always, and I mean always fucking eighth notes. And I mean fucking always eighth notes on the hat. Bridge has that weird harmonized lead vocals. Bridge has that weird harmonized load vocals that I dig. Leads back into the intro riff before Kirk takes his solo, which is sweet. Nothing special. Definitely one of the Metallica songs of all time. I don't know why. I mean, I kind of put it on a pedestal and then said nothing special, but I think it's a cool track.
Yeah.
But it is like mid-song, mid-album kind of. It's there, you know. It's cool.
Love the guitar mix in this one. A bit of Sabbath True in the intro leading into the first verse. Definitely a classic Metallica sound. Can't say enough about the vocals. Very clean sound. Don't know how much layering was done in production, but very crisp. Drums again, not as overwhelming in this one. Personally, so far, one of the better mixed songs so far on the record.
All right. Cool. Yeah. All right. I guess we'll do a recap of the whole album when we're done. Track 6, Lux Eterna, almost the title track, because it was almost the title. The first taste of this album that we got a couple months ago, it has grown on me.
November, I think, is when it came out?
I think it was, yeah.
Right around Thanksgiving.
It has grown on me, kind of the sequel song to Hardwired. That, like, I almost thought it would open the album. Actually, I note that. I thought it would open the album, but after hearing the pacing, I know why it didn't. Just because the album's not as fast as Hardwired all around. I mean, Hardwired was a good blend of all the eras too, so I guess I get it. Shortest song on the album at 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Thank God. Very fast paced. Very fast paced Metallica, but it's not quite capturing the old sound, but rather creating or following up to Hardwired, as I said earlier. Definitely a cool track, to the point, fast Metallica, rock, metal. Like, Lux Turn is a cool track.
Alrighty. The first single and kind of got us all excited for new music. Personally, for me, the first time in a while, I was actually looking forward to a new record. James hits that next octave with a reverb, almost with a Gene Simmons bit of delivery and passion.
Ooh.
Love that. A blistering solo with Lars just fucking the cymbals.
Well, the reason I hit the hi-hat so fucking hard, is because my sense of dynamics is just fucked.
I partied way too much.
It was the cocaine coming back out. I told you I'm Danish.
Did you know I played tennis before I played the drums?
I want to watch Some Kind of Monster again. I love that documentary.
It's fun. It's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch. Okay, track 7, Crown of Barbed Wire. Star next to it. One of my more favorite tracks.
I'm with you on that one.
Another hidden gem here. Oh my God, do I hear toms in the intro? Can I say how much I appreciate the bass in the mix? New Metallica era track that I vibe to for sure. A bit long again, but I'll let it slide here. Lars' famous kick snare, and holy shit, some crash. Gotta have snare fills though. No need for an entire tom rack. Kind of a reload type track. Thick, heavy, chunky riffage, slowed down. Cool solo as always, and chorus is tight. It kind of fell into that like later 90s like Reload-ish era. I mean, Load and Reload were recorded at the same time, but Reload's a little different from Load. So I think it would like fit on that album.
Well, you wouldn't want to confuse the two because one is Load and one is Reload.
Exactly. You could continue the two. And I appreciate that, Ashley.
Okay.
You should watch Jim Brewer's impression of Lars.
Yeah, his is great.
It is beyond spot on. Yeah. His impression of everyone.
Yeah, it's so good. Very in your face. Drums a bit high in the mix, but the blend of guitar and bass is enough to keep you interested. Lyrically, very deep and a bit dark, but with the hard and heavy sound, not going to leave you in a state of depression, but leaving you saying, yeah, I can get behind this one.
Nice. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I can get behind this one.
So I know you're a lyrics guy because you're a vocalist. That's where I need to go back and kind of figure things out because I know he said that's the theme, 72 Seasons. It's kind of that. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a concept album, but it's like, you know, it was the theme or his idea behind it. So I want to know if that falls into all these other tracks here. But yeah, I need to check out the lyrics a little more. So I didn't notice that this one was dark.
And you can have an overall theme without it necessarily being a concept record, because I mean, a lot of bands do it, especially as they get older. Because if they stick to one idea, it kind of just like keeps going because they've been doing it for so long.
Yeah. Like Fear Factory. If we ever do them, one of my favorite bands, I have a signed poster right there, and a lot of their albums are concept records, very Terminator-esque. Dystopian. Anyways, Crown of Barbed Wire is pretty badass.
I really like that one too.
Track 8, Chasing Light. So I watched a short. There's a guy on YouTube called Rocked, and he does reviews and stuff on music.
I don't know if I've ever seen his or not.
I watched his short on this, and this was one of his favorite tracks on it. So I was excited to listen to it because he said it was one of the standout tracks. There's no light. He didn't say afterwards, but there's no light. But it's kind of like there's going to be an but there wasn't. Opening lead almost feels like 7/4, but it isn't. I don't know why, but it feels that way. I think this is another of the true follow-ups to Hardwired. Fast, thrashy in a way. Main lead riff is cool with the little octave note thrown in there. So happy I can hear Rob a bit louder. Of course, I can hear Lars' kick snare times 1,000. But he does smash some crash here too, a little. Sweet track, no need to be nearly 7 minutes.
Come on over here and let me smash that crack. Anthemic. I see a lot of fists in the air when they play this live. A classic "ooh" from James to open the verse.
Oh, yeah.
Love the "lean on me" chant. Definitely playing to the live feel. The crowd is 100% chanting that throughout.
Oh, yeah. The live feel.
I couldn't remember when I said it to you which one it was, but
yeah, it was was that stripped from your notes? That little picture you sent me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have
that's
the
why it
live
was
feel.
all fucking oblong like that.
Yeah, I clicked on it. It was like opened up. Yeah, Chasing Light, cool track.
Yeah.
Okay, so track 9, If Darkness Had a Sun. I'm a bit critical on this one.
Okay.
And I don't know. I love the track. Don't get me wrong, but I'm a bit critical, and I'm about to get into it, I guess. All right, don't get me wrong here. I love Metallica, but holy shit, another synchronized snare from Lars. Like by the end of it, I'm like, dude, come on. Like I mean, I love Lars and I love Metallica, but the snare, maybe, this is maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just his sound, Maybe that's their sound, and that's just how it is. But because I could do this about any other band I listen to. I could find this in Iron Maiden where I'm like, okay, I'm tired of E minor, because a lot of it's in the same key, but whatever. It's their sound. Followed by, you guessed it, kick snare times 100. James and the Temptation. I'm over it. Lyrics are cool, but I thought Saint Anger was us getting the temptation out of our system. All the grief here to say I do like the track. The riff is cool as hell. Dig-a-tig, always welcomed with Metallica or any bands.
Shout out to Dig-a-tig.
Dig-a-dig, tig-a-dig, dig-a-dig, tig-a-dig. Dig-a-tig being the tremolo kind of triplets on guitar. I don't know how it would, but the gallop. Yeah. It's the dig-a-dig, dig-a-dig. I think this would have been perfect on Death Magnetic. But yeah, I'm just a little critical of it. And I all that said, I do like the track. I do see why it's a single, and I can't wait to hear it live or watch them play it live, whatever. But it's as soon as I hear Temptation, I'm like, oh, here we go. About the whatever. Anyways, it's a cool track. Don't get me wrong. I was a little harsh on it,
and I'm going to take it easy on it.
Cool.
Because probably my favorite song from the album.
Yeah. It's a really cool track, and it's growing on me, man.
Yeah.
It's just,
And by the way, all of this, I listened to it twice yesterday and then once today when I did my notes. So I played through twice straight through yesterday, which is a lot of one album to do back to back like that. Big surprise. Stadium rocker. Hopefully there will be some badass effects when they play it live with lights and fire. I think in 10 to 20 years, people will consider this a Metallica live classic. Again, really love the mix, well balanced.
I think you're right. I mean, like I said, it's
not my favorite studio album, but I was looking at it from that live perspective. Like, I could see this being like a big moment in the show.
Sure. Yeah, it'll be for sure. Like, that'll be one of those things like, oh man, when they played If Darkness Had a Sun, like everybody went wild. Yeah. Everybody,
people aren't going to get a beer, go take a piss.
No,
they're into it.
As soon as you hear that, I played it on drums right before we started because I was like, let me just make sure I'm hearing this right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a really cool track. All that, I was a little harsh on it. And you know what? Singing, that's where you get it all out of your system. So Temptation, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
It just, I think it ran its course for me with Saint Anger, the documentary, and, but I love James Hetfield, man. I love Kirk Hammett. I love Lars. And
James is in our Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, James Hetfield's the man, dude. So I don't want that to come off like an asshole. I don't know. Whatever. Just disregard my review. Yeah, I'm a critical fan, and that's all. But
I criticize Kiss all the time.
this yeah, as far as like a mainstream track go, or like a single, and probably like of all of the songs on the album, this would probably be the most badass song on the album. Like you said, it's like gonna be a classic.
Yeah,
it will. But yeah, I just had to get that out of my system.
And how many times did you listen to this so far in full?
I listened
Twice?
to it, the album,
Yeah.
2 or 3 times, yeah,
Okay.
and
So about the
notes
same.
once. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
But like, think of where you'll see it in, like, 5, 10, 15 years. You're
I
gonna
think
be
I'll
like,
love it.
oh yeah, this
Yeah,
when you come back to it and music's like all fucking electronic then, and you're just like,
yeah.
oh, give me real
So
shit.
that brings up a good point because when Hardwired came out and that first single came out, I was like, ugh. I mean, whatever, Hardwired. But now I listen to it, I'm like, this is a fucking jam, you know.
Yep.
So it just takes time to, like I said, Lux Eterna. At first, I was like, it's a cool track. I mean, whatever. It's kind of a little rock for me,
Yeah.
and not saying like it has to be metal, man, but like now I listen to it, I'm like, Lux Eterna's badass. I love when he hits that high register.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think this one is growing on me, and I just had to get my thoughts out of my system there. So
Yeah.
anyways, Too Far Gone, question mark.
Question mark. Too far
By this
gone?
point, the hi-hat has me completely brainwashed. This track is cool, short at 4 minutes 33 seconds for this album. A very upbeat chorus for a moment. The riffage is definitely there with the here and there. Love the harmonized leads in the bridge section and the melodies. Good filler track for me.
Okay. A nice riff to open. Drums very repetitive. It's become the Lars sound. Another song that will definitely play to the audience and plays very well on big speakers or headphones. Any way you slice it, another good track with a fun guitar sound.
Yeah.
So very just balanced. I was like, I'm not going to shit on it. I'm not going to give it
No, that's
the highest of regards.
It's a cool track. It fits on the album. That's it.
Yep. And shit doing Ride the Lightning Master Puppet, some of our favorite shit were just that kind of that filler shit in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not saying that they were fillers. Don't fucking crucify me for that. But
no,
I'm just saying, like,
every album has
lesser
fillers.
known tracks.
Yeah, your deep cuts or your like that's every album has fillers, and you will never convince me otherwise.
Right.
Room of Mirrors, track 11. End of the album where I start losing track of things. And also, only my second or third listen, but bass is thick in the verse lines, and Lars is doing some rolls on the kick that are quite refreshing at this point, as well as the nice crash hits in the pre-chorus and chorus. I never spend. Okay, hold on. I need to spend more time on this, as it's definitely my least listened so far from the album, but it's fast Metallica riffing, drums, and James doing his thing. Very formulaic for the album. Can't judge this too hard, but so far, pretty cool.
All right. Crunchy guitar sound and some great bass from Rob. I'm sounding repetitive as fuck, but man, James's vocals are really great on the whole record.
Yeah.
Couple of nice drum fills here.
We had the same. We were like, wow, some things changed.
Yeah, something different, but also the same.
I wanted to re-listen and find and tally up out of 12 tracks how many
oh god
how many had it, and
we
I'm
would have
thinking
been
it's
here
got to be 10
all fucking day.
Yeah, no, I mean like each, like how many tracks out of 12 had
okay.
the
How many?
like 10 out of no it'd
like,
be
holy shit, this
it'd be 10 probably 10 out of 12 tracks.
YouTube cuts off the live stream at 12 hours. So
yeah. Okay, to finish the album, and I know what you texted me about it, but I put a star next to this one. I think it's Inamorata. I think you just said it was like something about it being 11 minutes long.
Oh yeah, it was just fucking long.
Yeah. Inamorata or something. I think that's how you say it.
We'll go with that.
The album closer that surprised me.
Inamorata Vita, baby.
Inamorata Vita, baby. The album closer that surprised me. This is a love letter to their influences.
Now I see where you're going with that earlier.
Yeah. Does it need to be 11 minutes? No, but it's solid nonetheless. I really feel Thin Lizzy in this one. Riffage has that southern undertone. Chorus is badass. Misery, she needs me. This is where I get the Lizzie influence, is in the chorus. A track that might go on to be underrated. Something about it does it for me though. 11 minutes worth, no, but I would settle for 8 if we are bargaining. Mid song, mid song, come down with
I'll
the
give you
bass
6.
playing. Yeah, the mid song come down with the bass playing is cool, but did not need fucking 16th note hi hats so loud. Lars needs to learn dynamics. Not every hit has to be full power, buddy. Harmonized part after the cooldown is super cool. The guitars and bass do an awesome job here. Such a simple Sabbath influenced riff, but it's really badass.
Okay. Bass heavy with a nice groove, maybe the most different from anything else on the record. A bit long, but nonetheless a cool closer to an overall good record. Won't call it great yet, but then again, this is only on 3 full listens.
Yeah. It kind of came on as I was driving down the interstate, and I'm like, I didn't expect this from the last. And then I replayed it, and I was like, I kind of like this. And then I was like, I had the thought, I was like, Thin Lizzy, Thin Lizzy, Thin Lizzy.
Yep.
Like, I got to write that down because I'm going to forget. But it's total, it's just got that Thin Lizzy thing going on. And that's a big James thing. And Cliff was inspired by him.
And
like,
Lars too.
And Lars, yeah. It's like, because that was, what they were growing up on.
Yep.
But it's a really cool track. Like I said, like I'll take 11 minutes, I'll listen to it, but it is a bit of a stretch, you know. But Metallica hasn't really done anything like that other than I think Orion. I know there's probably a longer song. I'm just not remembering, but Orion's like damn near 9 minutes or something or 8. And that's a masterpiece of a track. We talked about that.
You're still kicking yourself on that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cause I didn't pick Orion.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did, the other one instead, whatever was against it. I can't remember, but, yeah, man, 72 seasons. I know I'm kind of beating myself up about the If Darkness Had a Sun thing, but I like the track. I think I said it while we were going, my starred songs are Shadows Follow, Sleepwalk My Life Away, Crown of Barbed Wire, and Inamorata. And none of those are singles. No, I didn't do that intentionally because, I think If Darkness Has Sun is a badass track. Lux Eterna is obviously badass. 72 Seasons is. Screaming Suicide, it's good too. I don't know. I guess the album is pretty damn good from start to finish. I do really, really like it. And all that Lars talk, I'm sorry, but I'm sure everybody else probably noticed too that it was a little much.
Yeah.
But
high in the mix.
Very loud in the mix. So I was sitting there listening to it with my brother-in-law the other night. He came over and we were listening and he was like, he hits everything so hard. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, slowly turn down the volume. I had it on my monitors playing real loud. And he goes, what do you hear? And I was like, drums. It's like, it's turned down like almost you just hear so. And it just, just kind of bleeds through. And that's, that's just, he hits the drums hard and, it's production. I'm sure you can't, but also you can't turn down the drums too low or then your album sounds totally different from the last one.
Right.
So it's the Metallica sound, man. The E minor pentatonic scale kind of variations of those Enter Sandman riffs and Hardwired. And I think in after this, it's a good follow-up to Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I think it's a good follow-up because it has a little blend of everything in it, just like that did.
Yeah. I mean, like I said in the last little bit of my notes, it's a good album overall. I don't know if I'll ever think it's great, but it's good. It's solid. It's a good, like you can put this on and walk away and just have it on.
Yeah.
There wasn't a track where I was like, oh my God, I have to skip this one.
Yeah.
Or even in like the re-listen, like, oh, I didn't like that the first time around, because that's a bad way to look at it. Because if you don't like a song the first time around, you could love it. You don't know because you're just hear one thing you don't like and you're automatically turned off from it.
You always have to give a couple shots at it.
Give it a listen. Overall, like I don't know, 5 quads blown. What do you say?
Out of how many?
5.
5 out of 5. 5 quads.
How many quads would you blow listen to this?
Oh,
out of 5.
Yeah, out of 5. Yeah, I'm probably 4 and a sprain on a quad.
So like a 4.2.
Out of 5. See, yeah, probably a 4 point. I know it sounds minuscule, but like probably a 4.3 or 4.
Okay.
Like there's some points deducted, like the drums, and again, it's just Metallica sound, but the drums, I don't know. As looking at the album as a whole, I could probably blow 5 quads to it, absolutely, because it's Metallica. I like it, but I'm gonna stick with my like pushing 4.5.
Okay.
And I think as it grows on me, I'm gonna love it because like Hardwired, when it came out, every time a Metallica album comes out, I'm most excited for the non-singles because they have a lot of good deep cuts on their albums. Like Load and Reload. Load has a song called "Wasting My Hate," and I heard it on Sirius one time. I think it was the dude, the comedian guy, that
Jim Florentine.
Florentine's fucking Jim Florentine. Yeah, he was like, a song Metallica, it's wasting my hate off Load. He plays like deep cuts or something on that, and I was like, oh my god. I was driving, I was like, this is a good fucking track. I've never listened to it, but I always like, when we're deep cut guys in general, I think, where we like that. But yeah, I think overall it's a pretty solid album. It's paced very well as far as the tracks go. You got your faster ones, you got your, like I say, Load era ones, your kind of 90s slower tracks. It's a good blend of everything. Metallica will never recapture the 80s. Sorry, everybody, but that's not going to happen. They're like pushing 60 years old, and that was just a different time. Could they make another thrash album? Sure, but I'm sure they're going to do it in many takes because they picked pretty fast back then.
Yeah.
So no, that's never going to happen, but you can hear it all over this album. And you hear 90s in it, and you hear, like, I think the 2000s Metallica is a distinct thing.
Yeah. I'm with you, man.
Good.
Yeah.
It's
good.
It's a great one.
I give it a 3.9.
Quad?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I thought you were saying you gave it a 5.
No.
Yeah.
There's moments where I could, but I'm just saying, like, overall, I'd say like 3.9. Like, it's almost a 4.
Yeah.
But I got to be twatty about it.
Yeah.
So we'll call it our overall Heels and Quads review, overall 4.25. I think that's fair.
I think 4. I think 4 is fine because I was high.
Well, I'm at 3.9. You're at a 4.4.
I guess that's true. Let's go 4.25. You're right.
4.25.
We got to meet in the middle there. 4.25 out of 5 quads blown. If it's out of 10, I'm probably
high praise.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good high praise. But it is a new one from all, and I think they just really sometimes take me out of it.
Yeah.
Because it's just a lot. The critical reception on Wikipedia is mostly 4 out of 5 star reviews.
Yeah. So we're right there.
6 out of 10 on Clash and 6.4 out of 10 on Pitchforks, 77 out of 100 on Metacritic. So everybody kind of gives it that like 3/4 review, like 75, 80%. And
so ours is a little higher.
That's a little higher, but yeah, I mean, it's, as a fan, I'm always happy when their album comes out, and I have to enjoy it because it might be, it could be another 6 to 8 years. If I don't think it's their last.
I don't think so either.
But I think the next one, we probably have to have that serious discussion of like, is it the last one? And I hope they go out with a bang, but it did feel like, the album feels like they played it safe, not in a bad way, but they kind of they did the Metallica thing. They played the Metallica riffs.
It was a good Metallica record.
It was a good Metallica record. Is it perfect? Absolutely not.
No.
But it's good. It's worth a listen. If you're a fan, definitely worth picking up. I think I probably will at some point just to have it on the shelf. But I enjoyed it. And I like the color.
And collect dust.
Yeah. I like the yellow and black colors on the cover.
I think it looks cool.
I'm a yellow fan, so
I like the cover. I actually really do.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
It's pretty sweet, and I like the the guitar on the floor and all that, and I guess back to my one last hoorah for If Darkness Had a Son. you know, if it is like the whole thing about the theme of 72 seasons, then that would make sense because, you know, the temptation began at those later, you know, at the 50 and 60th or the 60th something season, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever. It's a good track. I'm over it. I got it out of my system, but yeah, it was a fun review to do.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it.
We need to do
It was
more
a good
album
time.
reviews.
It was nice to just sit there and listen to it, take notes, even not have to compare it to something else was nice.
That I liked the most.
We might take a break. Maybe we'll take a break from that and just do album reviews for a while.
We're always evolving, you know.
I mean, not saying that we won't ever do the Clash again.
Yeah, of course.
Put it on the back burner for a while.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And this against something else would have been a ton because this, I mean, you're pushing 2 hours.
Yeah. And as long as it is like this versus Hardwired would probably just wear me out.
I would have been fucking done.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, I mean, I like the idea of that just doing it is nice to just focus on one album and kind of because you can dissect it a little better when you're not like, oh my God, I have to move on to the next track because I got to get to the next album.
Right.
But
especially when you listen to the 2 albums multiple times like we do to do
yeah I can't just
start
do
to
it
get
once.
a little burnout, and then by the time you listen to them to take your notes, you're like, oh my God, I'm sick of hearing this fucking song.
Yeah
anyways,
so yeah, that's that. Thanks for listening. 4.25 quads for our average. You know, we're at that 80% mark. Probably just call it 80% out of 100%, you know, basically what it is, but maybe 82. But yeah, if you're a fan, worth a listen. I said all that earlier, worth a buy. But thanks for hanging
definitely
out.
Buy it.
Definitely buy it instead of don't go on Napster. Oh, and next week will be our hangout at some point. Thanks to our Patreons. Sign up at patreon.com/heelsandquads like these folks did. Eric B, the Great Muda, Sweet Baby James, Dan S, Tim R, Lori C, Amanda H, Rob E, Kenny L, and Sal S. The Patreons at patreon.com/heelsandquads. Hang out with us next week at some point. I'm sure it'll be announced soon. It'll be announced.
Sign up for Patreon. It'll be announced on there. We'll give you usually enough time, at least a day before, sometimes at least a half a day. I'll give you notice.
And hang out on the Patreon long enough, you might have your own show on Heels and Quads Media. That's
it's true, man.
It's true. We kind of like to
but
be.
You know what the thing about that is I know I can trust them.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously,
because I go through. I'm like, hey, don't say this, don't do this, don't do that, don't. Yep, just
we're a launch pad for other creators. We like to put people over. So,
all right.
Thank
on
you.
that
Ashley.
note,
Ashley's been with us, or commenting on here has been with us since like day one. So.
Yeah, literally,
yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of it. Patreon.com/heelsandquads, ProWrestlingTees.com/heelsandquads, Collar and Elbow Brand, coupon code Heels and Quads, Go Green Hemp, coupon code Heels and Quads. And of course, that's it. Yeah. Tell your friends.
Tell your enemies.
And go Yankees.
Bye.